There was a man named Fred Wicks who had been many years on the lower Skeena River and had worked around the salmon canneries. Well, he went to his homeland of Germany, and there where he met a young widow. That was my mother. Well, a romance sprung up, although he was a number of years older than her, and he made arrangements with her to later come out to the West Coast, where they would be married. And I think it was in the month of October 1900. We arrived at the North Pacific Cannery on the lower Skeena in a month or so later. Well, I remember it was a very beautiful moonlight night, and someone was standing on the dock, an elderly man with a beard. He looked pretty rugged, and he shouted something across the water as the boat was warped in, and the captain shouted something back. Well, Mother looked at him, and she looked at this high, foreboding mountain back of the cannery, and she looked at the few buildings there, and she said to us boys, she said, "This is our new home." And there we were till early spring before the cannery crew came up, without any outside contact, you might say, with only an occasional coastal vessel coming in to take some salmon. Well, in the spring of the year, or early May or April, the crews would come up, and the Chinese crews would come and make cans by hand, and coppers were used, hand coppers heated in these little charcoal stoves to solder up the cans when they made. When the first salmon came and was spilled on the floor, Stepdad would take us two kids by the hand, you know, and he would walk us right through the cannery, show us every phase of the canning business, and right from the time the fish were first washed till the time the label was put on and boxed up. And of course the question of schooling had come up quite often during the winter. Fort Essenter had a school, but often it wasn't easy to make contact there when the river got full of ice and would plug the river up for 20, 30, 40 miles. So they sent us further north up the coast to the old village of Mittelkatla. By that time I was now 8 years old. And then a school was formed for the first time at the Inverness Cannery, a mile and a half downriver below us. At that time, I think it needed 6 children to start a school. Now we had about 8 or 10, and we attended school there. And I was attending school there for about a year, year and a half. Anyway, I got to as far as what you would now call the 5th grade. That's all the education I've had to this day, because they put me in a fishing boat at the age of 13. And those boats those days were all sails and oars. There was no power boats of any kind. We had no cabins. The only protection we had in real bad weather was a little pup tent. That would be equivalent to the pup tent of today. Otherwise, it was just hard, back-breaking work. And as a boy of 13, I became a man many years before my age. And there were many instances that I could relate of our adventures on the water in the fishing business.